Welcome back to the channel, guys. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to make this Xeno Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. It's a lot easier than I thought it would be, especially if you have these two figures, which you are going to need. Is the SH Fig Arts Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta and then Jade Rabbit from Beast Deities. And what those figures look like out of the box. Obviously, you have your SH Fig Arts Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. And then Beast Deities came out with the Xeno Vegeta already, so you already have a good base to start with. So we'll go ahead and get into how you can make this Vegeta, which I'm sure all the Vegeta fans, including myself, have been waiting for a release. We go ahead and match him up well with the Xeno Super Saiyan 4 Goku. So let's get into how we can add this Vegeta to our collection. So you're going to start out with the two Vegetas, obviously, and you're going to need a Goku belt. So you start off by taking your Vegetas apart. Just take off all the parts that you don't need and then keep the parts that you do need. And then you're going to want to dry fit all your parts first. So put the Goku belt on the waist, pop in Vegeta's top half, or SH Fig Arts Vegeta's top half. It's going to fit loosely at first, but I'll show you guys how to make everything fit nice and snug. So it's definitely loose fitting, but it does pop on there. The peg definitely fits. So then we're going to start with the arms. So you pull the arms off of the Beast Deities Vegeta. And we're going to start to get those gloves off in a second. So the arms are a little bit harder to take off of the SH Fig Arts Vegeta. But as you're pulling them off, be careful not to break that peg inside. It shouldn't break, hopefully. So now we start off with the gloves. So to detach the gloves, I'm using a clay carving tool. And the Beast Deities gloves are a lot easier to take off. Pretty much just keep picking and poking underneath the glove, making sure you don't like pierce the actual glove. One of the arms, either the left or the right, was a little bit harder to get off for the Beast Deities, so I had to work like a little bit harder for this one. But just keep picking and poking. What you're doing is loosening the glue. You can always dip it in hot water or use a heat gun. But the first one came off so easy that I tried to do it without heating it up. So I actually used some pliers, and then it ended up coming out. So you get the glove detached, it's still intact. Then you do the same thing with the SH Fig Arts. So the SH Fig Arts glove is like way tighter. The glue, they put like way more glue in there. So yeah, I actually used a heat gun for this one. So go ahead and warm that up. Get it nice and warm so that you can fit your tool underneath the glove. You could cut the glove off with the blade, but the peg for the arm is a little bit close to the actual wrist. You don't want to really mess that up. So just keep digging just like you did with the Beast Deities gloves. And like I said, the SH Fig Arts one is a lot harder. You might want to leave it in your hot water longer or warm it up longer with your heat gun. So I actually switched to a different carving tool. It's a little bit more wide, just to slide it underneath the glove, as you can see. Still a simple process. So I grab my pliers again because it's hard to take off. But you're pretty much just pulling the plastic apart. There's just a lot more glue in the Vietnam Super Saiyan 4 SH Fig Arts Vegeta. So you rip it apart, you get your forearm out. It has a little L inside, so keep left and right apart. So then you do the same process on the other side. Heating up again. And then, well, I actually held it with my pliers there so I wouldn't burn my hand. But then you start picking and poking underneath. And then pretty much rip it apart. This plastic was a lot more stuck than the first one, so I found it easier to just cut it off with some scissors if you have some. Everybody should have some scissors, right? So once you get your forearms out, you go ahead and dry fit the Beast Deities gloves onto the SH Fig Arts. And what's cool about the whole swapping of the gloves is the forearm kind of fits to form. So it actually fits good with the dry fit, even without the glue. So make sure you dry fit it first. That way you can see where you're going to set it with the glue. Do it on each side. Each side fits to the forearm from the previous arm that was inside. So that's always good. So then once you got your dry fit looking nice and neat, you're going to add some glue. I use Gorilla Super Glue. So you just put your glue inside of the glove that you took off. You don't really need that much, just a few dabs on each corner or each part, and then insert the forearm. Kind of hold it in place for about 70 seconds and it should be ready to mess with and things like that. So it comes out pretty good already. And so you do the same thing on the other side, just a few dabs of glue in there. Super simple. Insert your forearm, hold it for 70 seconds again, and it should be ready to go. So far so good. You have both arms already done, and it's already looking dope. It's not even on the figure yet, but that's pretty simple. Next, we'll do this tail. So I use a Dremel. It's like a handheld drill. So you're gonna drill a little hole right at the tip of the butt crack. And it's good that when you get these handheld drills that they have like drill bits that kind of fit to form. So this drill bit is actually the same size as the tail peg. So once you get that hole inside, simply insert the tail and it kind of fits to form. It's loose fitting, so when you're doing your articulation, it might pop out. You can always glue it in there if you want to, or you could just deal with like setting it in place and then putting it back in if it falls out. So now you put your arms back together. Make sure you go left to right accordingly. There's a L and an R inside. And then pretty much putting the top half back together backwards. And then we'll go ahead and see what the arms are going to look like on the actual figure. So you do the same thing with the other arm. The right side of my SH Figuarts Vegeta was a lot easier to pop in. That one actually had a snap to it. So look at that. It's already coming out dope. Halfway there. So then next we want to, or at least I do, I dry fit it one more time to see how the belt is going to fit on top of the tail. And then put the head back on just to see what the figure is going to look like halfway through the process. So super dope so far, a little wobbly, but we're going to fix that. So now the belt, I use milliput clay. It's a 2-part clay. You have to go ahead and mix it around really good. It's going to be 2 colors at first, but you want to make sure you mix it and roll it and twist it to get it to be pretty much yellow. So once it's yellow, you're ready to start adding the clay to your parts. So you just pretty much pack the clay on top of this belt, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to get it on the actual belt so you can start letting it dry. So once you get your little donut around your belt, kind of pack it in a little bit, make sure it stays on there because it has some adhesive. Should look like that when you're done, and go ahead and set that aside so it could dry. So while that's drying, we could go ahead and fix these pegs here. So it is loose fitting at first, but what I do to make it tighter is I go ahead and grab some plastic, just like a little Ziploc bag, and cut a little portion off of that. And then what you're gonna do is you just put it over the female end of the peg hole. So you're creating a buffer, like all the gap that's in between the peg will be filled, and then it definitely takes away the looseness, so it fits nice and snug and it won't wiggle anymore. So that's good. So for my SH Figuarts copy, the head was also wobbly, so I just did the same process with the head. Just insert that Ziploc piece of plastic over the female end and then plug the head back on, and then just like that, it doesn't wobble anymore. So you got the loose fitting joints all prepped and ready to go. So now back to this clay over the belt. So after you let the clay sit for a while, it starts to settle, I guess you could call it. And then you can start rubbing in the lines with your clay carving tool. If you start to carve it before it sets a little bit, then the clay starts to like fall apart. So definitely let it dry for a little while. As you can see now, I'm able to like carve it smoothly. So you just want to create your tubular lines, because this Vegeta, the Xeno Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, magically had a belt pop up on his waist, but it was definitely tubular like that. So once you have your line set and ready, go ahead and let that dry. So now the painting process, you want to primer your paint or you want to primer your product first after it's all nice and dry, and then go ahead and paint the primer all over your clay. Just get it all around in every area that you're going to paint, except for where the teeth are holding the actual piece up, because if you paint over the teeth, then when you pull it off, it's going to pull the paint off. So get it around every area minus that part. Should look like that. So then after your primer dries, you're going to go ahead and start painting it. This is a pretty simple paint job. I mean, I used a paintbrush. You could use an airbrush if you want to, but I find it easier just to use a paintbrush. It's a cleaner cleanup time. So I use Vallejo paint. There's airbrush paint and then the airbrush thinner. Go ahead and mix that in, and then just go ahead and apply that all over the belt. Again, you're going to paint every part except for where the teeth are holding the belt up so it can dry. And then after all that's dry, you can end up painting that last section later. So it should look like that. And go ahead and put a couple of coats of that black. I think I put 4 or 5. So then last but not least, you have the paint sealer. Again, this is Vallejo. I'll leave all the links in the description below for all the products that I use for customizing, if you guys are interested and want to use the same product. So add your sealer, because you don't want your paint to chip. Just add it all over. Get it like a glazed donut, just like that. Then you have the curing process. I use my wife's nail polish dryer, and it's pretty much a LED light. So finally, after all your painting and claying and all the drying is complete, you can finally put Vegeta together. So the dry fitting that you did before definitely sets you up for this part. As you can see, the plastic was still in the female part of the peg. And just look at that, the finished product. You finally get your Xeno Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta to add to the shelf. And it just looks super dope. Super simple, not like the craziest custom in the world. So if you have those 2 Vegetas, go ahead and try this custom, or we could wait until they actually come out with an official release. So this could be like kind of like a filler if and or when they come out with one. So as far as the completion of your custom, all the articulation works the same. He still gets the ab crunch and all those things. Like, none of that changed. The arms are still able to be used after everything is set and dry. So here you have it, your Xeno Vegeta. And like I said, with the tail, I mean, it kind of stays in there when you're moving it around and things like that. But there you have it, Super Saiyan 4 Xeno Vegeta. So if you feel like this video was helpful, you can go ahead and hit that like button. If you want to keep an eye out for my next videos to come, go ahead and subscribe. Until then, thank you for watching.